Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Public Works and Planning Committee meeting of Tuesday, January 6th of 2026. So first we'll have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Cush.
Present.
Commissioner Piercy. Here. Commissioner P. Here. Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Dodd.
Here.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Chairman Johnson.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, next we have approval of the minutes of December minutes. Vice Chair Phil Dodd.
Thank you, Chairman. I have read the minutes and found them to be in order and move for their adoption.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We have Planning and Engineering Director Doug Demosi. And no public comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Good evening, committee members, and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Hope you all had a happy and safe holiday. Just have our regular reports for you tonight. There is a budget amendment and some other items a little further on, but I'll ask that our county engineer come speak on those. But for now, I'm just going to go through my regular reports that I've got regarding our available lot inventory and also our rezoning report. You'll see the available lot inventory as of the end of December. We had 1,077 lots. Those are recorded lots ready for building permits in the unincorporated area of the county. You can see that's up about 100 or so, more like 90 from this time last year. It is actually down from November. We had several building permits that were issued, not a whole lot of plats that were recorded. So the fact that that number went down wasn't overly surprising. I also included on your iPads a chart that I try to provide. I'm going to try to provide quarterly, just kind of give you just an idea of what the available lot inventory, what the trend line looks like. You'll see on that we started tracking this back in January of 2009, and we've been tracking it for the last, I guess that's 16 years or so. And you can see that we had a high in kind of between January of 09 and 10, about 1,688 lots. Again, these are just unincorporated area. Then you can see that pretty much went down to 548 somewhere around late 2016, early 2017-ish. And it's kind of been trending in different directions since. It's been trending upward a little bit lately, although, like I said, last month it has gone down from last month. So that's really just for informational purposes, just to have you, just ask you to take a look at that, see if you had any questions or comments on it, just to give you an idea of what our available lot inventory looks like. So if there's no questions about that, I will go ahead and go into our rezoning report. We will have 3 applications for your consideration next week. You'll see that the list that you have on our report, there's 2 from Jeffrey Turner and there's 1 from Laws Bolden. They got a little jumbled up in the packet as far as the staff report order. I'm going to do the Laws Bolden application first, since that's the one that's first, and then I'll go through the Jeffrey Turner's 2 applications, and I'll fix that for next week. I apologize when I put this together. I guess I thought I had it in the right order, but I think the program I was using thought it was smarter than I am and put the lower number at the top, which is where it should have been, but we had it out of order for a reason. So with that, I will begin discussion on Laws Bolden application. This is for property along Ocala Road. Total, it's about 21 acres. It involves 5 pieces of property. These are all on Ocala Road between Ocala and 840. So it's all the properties there, those 5 properties on the north side of 840. They're currently zoned residential medium density, and they're asking for a planned development for various commercial uses. According to their pattern book, which is on your iPads as well, they propose 3 different commercial buildings, which would foster a diverse range of business opportunities within this area. They feel that this development would capitalize on access to Interstate 840, and also they feel aligns with the comprehensive plan, which designates the area as an employment center. You'll see on the pattern book that there is a conceptual layout on page 8. You can see the three buildings total about 155,000 square feet. They also show some architectural elements and whatnot on page 11. You can see that there's a list of proposed uses on page 9 of the pattern book. Most of the more objectionable uses, I would say, have been removed. They were a lot more selective with this. There was a neighborhood meeting held on this back in May of last year as part of a town hall meeting that was hosted by Commissioner James, and he was present at the meeting. We did answer several questions about the rezoning process and other topics as well. This item was originally considered by the Planning Commission back in August of last year. However, it was deferred to allow staff and the applicant to meet to talk about timing and funding of proposed traffic improvements. The pattern book does say that the applicant has committed to contribute up to $100,000 towards signalization and roadway improvements that were identified as part of a traffic study that was done for that area. During the public hearing, the applicant's representative did discuss the opinion of cost for the identified traffic improvements. He stated his client's project isn't contributing much additional traffic, but they are willing to pay for a share of those improvements, which is what we were trying to work out. He also said that nothing had changed with the application, so the pattern book you're seeing here really hasn't changed much from when we considered it back earlier last year. The Planning Commission questioned who would need to approve the overall framework of the developer agreement. It would be an agreement that would be between the county and also the developers in this area. There's another project out there in that area as well. Those discussions are ongoing. So there were questions about the funding, and we did answer that there were several parties involved, and again, each would have to make a contribution. Following the discussion and the public hearing, nobody spoke, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this, subject to the execution of the developers agreement by a unanimous vote, 10-4 and 0 against. So I'll go back now and discuss the other two applications, and these are both by Jeffrey Turner. The first is a piece of property at 5905 Franklin Road. He's asking for rezoning from RM, residential medium density, to office professional. Excuse me just a second. Okay. Development plans for the property include interior renovations of the existing house, which would make it more functional for a professional office space. The applicant owns property both at 5845 and 5871 Franklin Road, which are just down from this property, one's immediately adjacent to it. These were rezoned back in 2022 and 2024, respectively. There's also some other properties that he's done similar rezoning applications for further to the east on Franklin Road, which are also used as business offices. There is a concept plan with this application, as well as a letter explaining his intent. You'll see that the plan does show shared access with 5871 Franklin Road to eliminate any potential conflict points. We've actually had further conversations with TDOT on that, and there's 3 properties right there that he owns in a row, and all of them, TDOT's going to require them to share access for the one access point, so 3 properties for 1 access point, so just be aware of that. Should this application be approved, an engineered site plan would have to be submitted for our review, and it would also have to demonstrate any compliance with TDOT requirements, since Franklin Road is a state road. Office professional properties are required to provide a type 1 buffer adjacent to any residentially zoned property. Property to the east is already zoned OP, and they will share access, so there won't be any buffering there, but they will require buffering on the western and southern property lines. During our presentation, we did clarify access to the property, as I did just a moment ago. The Planning Commission also asked if the lots were on individual septic tanks, which they are. And there was also some questions as to whether the lots were governed by an HOA. We answered that we didn't know of any. However, that's nothing that we would get involved in anyway, and we always counsel applicants to make sure that they are abiding by any covenants that might be on their property. Following the public hearing, again, nobody spoke. The Planning Commission did recommend approval, again, by a unanimous vote. And the third property, again, this is also by Jeff Turner. This is for property at 11642 Franklin Road. He is also asking for a rezoning from residential medium density to light industrial on this one, so not office professional, but light industrial. We did become aware on this property of a potential unapproved business. The property owner became aware of the situation and did clean up the property. The applicant subsequently met with staff to discuss possible uses for the property. There is a letter and a concept plan that has been included with your agenda packets, kind of outlines what he's wanting to do here. He'd like to develop a self-storage facility, including RV and boat storage, and he feels the development would provide a secure and convenient storage option for this area, and also references other similarly zoned property and uses as well. Many warehouses and self-storage are a use by right when it comes to the light industrial district. Most of the time, we see these in commercial zones where it's a special exception, but it is allowed by right in light industrial. The concept plan does show access points both to Franklin Road and Almaville Road. We have not required a traffic study at this point, which is not unusual for this kind of an application. However, we still have the ability to request one if we think one is necessary. Should this application be approved, then they do submit a site plan. TDOT would also have to be involved because both Almaville Road and Franklin Road are state roads. Industrially zoned properties are also required to provide a type 3 buffer adjacent to any residentially zoned property, so that would be something else that we would identify and make sure it was meeting our requirements should this application be approved during the site plan review phase. Some of the planning commissioners felt that a planned development approach would be more appropriate than asking for light industrial. The applicant said he would need to research whether to pursue a planned development application, but preferred to move forward with the application as he had submitted it. He said he also spoke with his neighbors and the county commissioner of that district and that he had support. During the public hearing, there was one person who spoke about too much industrial zoning in the area. He also had some concerns about the need for a stormwater study and how the widening of Franklin Road may impact the properties in the area. He also said he wanted to keep the area residential. The first motion on this was to defer the application to allow the applicant to consider a plan development request. However, that motion did fail, and the second motion was to recommend approval as submitted. That motion did succeed, and it was by a vote of 7 for and 3 against. So those are the 3 applications coming before you next week, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Dodd.
Thank you, Chairman. Would this mini storage concept potentially have a developer's agreement? It could potentially.
Probably not for this. Are you talking because of the road improvements?
Yeah, if it's traffic study, I know the one behind this project was denied at Planning Commission because of concerns about the Ocala traffic light, which Mr. Bolden's committed to. That property, I believe, has a developer's agreement on the horizon. I thought, I may be wrong there. I thought that property may come back through as a.
Well, it's actually, that other property you're referring to on
Yes.
the, right there at the interchange is actually coming to the Planning Commission
this
next
month.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious about the concept of developers' agreements. It seems like to continue to defray the cost the county may have. Mr. Bolden would commit $100,000. This other property coming up later this month might contribute something, and that leaves the county with the X, whatever's left over. This could be an opportunity to contribute to that. So I'm just curious about your thoughts on.
Possibly, these kind of developments, many warehouses typically don't have the same impact as some of these other ones that we've been looking at, like the warehouse developments or even what Mr. Bolden is proposing with his application. This is more kind of come and go kind of traffic, very sporadic, intermittent, not a just continuous type traffic. Plus, TDOT already has plans to do widening on Franklin Road. We don't know when, or when there's going to be design or anything like that. Almaville Road's in kind of a similar situation as far as that goes. I don't know if he really would entertain any kind of an access to Almaville Road. It's a very small access. I mean, it's possible that he could. That's not something I don't know it's been fully decided at this point, but we would have to see that on a site plan.
So for my education, then, a traffic study, if a traffic study were required, probably will be. If the study doesn't attribute traffic impact on the interchange, then this person would not be drawn into the
Correct.
agreement. That's
Yeah,
just your kind of professional opinion.
Right, that would be. Now, I would also say that, before any site plan was done, we would want to have a call with TDOT. TDOT may look at this and say, well, we want to see turn lane into your development for this. That's certainly their prerogative, and then that would be at his expense. We wouldn't have any involvement in that at all. That would be something he'd have to do.
And the status of Mr. Bolden's developer agreement, you said it was in discussion.
Correct. I think there's a draft that's out there that needs to be, reviewed a little more closely. There's also some discussions just, regarding, of course, he has committed to $100,000. I think we need to verify the methodology that's being used is adequate for that to make sure that what everybody's paying their fair share based on the traffic analysis. So that's part of what we're still in discussions on.
I put time into that. I think that
Yeah.
those developer agreements are the paradigm shift that we've seen coming. So just curious about how they're coming along. So thank you for that diversion.
Any other questions? Okay. We have a motion and a
Second.
second to approve the report. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Thank you,
As
Judge.
stated, there's, Mr. Hughes is coming up, with your permission, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
To discuss well, I'll let Mike kind of describe what it is he's going to talk about.
Ms. Mike Hughes and Samantha Swanson.
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman Johnson, members of the Planning Subcommittee. Mike Hughes, Rutherford County Engineering Department, and we have a second subfolder under Planning and Engineering called FEMA buyouts. And it is not deja vu, it is the same FEMA buyout we've been working on since 2020. The contract was stuck at FEMA for several years and needed to be updated, so they sent us a new contract. And also with that contract, you'll see a budget amendment for what would be the entire amount for one house. There were 4 houses listed on the original contract, so don't let that amount scare you. We are only going to be working on one house. The rest have moved on or sold or backed out of the FEMA buyout. So there's only one house left on this program, this grant. On the FEMA buyout, you'll see an increase of $35,591 to the state grant portion, $213,546 to the federal grant portion. And these 2 portions will be reimbursed to the county. We'll have to front everything, and then we will be reimbursed for the 75%, which is the federal portion, and then the 12.5%, which is the state portion. And we would cover the 12.5%. And we've already allocated our 12.5%, and you could see in the explanation for the amendment request, there is a funds already set aside in Fund 171. So it's already set aside. Also, for your information, there are 2 photographs, aerial images of flooding that happen to be captured for the house that's still in the program. It's 5943 Adams Drive off of Old Nashville Highway. And you can kind of see those, the 2 images where there's under the flood. One was 2010 and then one was 2019. So it's a repetitive loss for this house, and FEMA granted this, we applied for this grant back in 2020 because of COVID and the hurricane delays with FEMA. It's just now coming to fruition. So all that to be said, there's only one house left, and we'd like to ask your permission to grant this contract, new contract, and the budget amendment. And I'll be happy to try to answer any questions if I can, or Samantha as well.
Do you have any questions? Commissioner P.
You said that the other ones pictured have moved on,
Yes, sir.
as in they've sold the house and the people that
Yes,
bought
sir.
them are not interested in the
Yes, sir.
mitigation?
Yes, sir.
Or is that going to come back and bite us in the future?
No, they've backed out of the contract. You have to sign an intent to sell, and they've all either sold their house or backed out and not agreed to move forward. So
Okay,
we're down to one.
So the one, if this grant goes through, would actually be demolished, cleared?
Yes, sir.
And that would become county property?
Yes, sir.
We've talked about this.
Yes, sir.
There's
It can be an open space. It can be just green space. Typically what happens is the highway department or the public works will come and mow 4 times a year. So it's essentially an open lot.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
This is already passed this commission, the full commission, and the money's appropriated. It's sitting there waiting for this contract to come back. I'm going to make a motion to forward this to budget.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to forward this to budget. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Roll call, sorry.
Commissioner Cush,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner James. Yes. Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes,
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask Doug a question, please.
Mr. Dodd.
Thank you. Doug, congratulations. Your plan Rutherford you've been working on for 4 years
About that, yes, sir.
has come to fruition. I know the Planning Commission adopted it. Congratulations. Chairman Phillips has elected to put it on the special called meeting on January 22nd for the full commission to entertain the plan. So first of all, congratulations that you got it this far. I just wanted to just clear up my own mind and anyone who, this committee or anyone who may be listening, what's the purpose of the meeting? What's the potential outcome? Just spend a couple of minutes on kind of what we can expect from that meeting. Starting out with, it's already adopted. It's a tool that you already have in your toolbox.
Right.
So just, why are we having a meeting?
Yeah. Well, let's just start with what state law allows for this type of situation. The state law, when it comes to comprehensive plan, long-range plans, anything of that nature, any adoption is granted, the ability of granting an adoption is granted to the Planning Commission for these kind of actions. Now, for these kind of plans, the state law goes further and says, okay, if the legislative body of a jurisdiction, county, city, whatever, adopts the plan, then it becomes more of a formal document. It has more of the force of law behind it. Right now, the Planning Commission that adopted it, we adopted it back in September. We've been using it as basically as a guiding document, which is what we should do. And that's how we've been operating under the last comprehensive plan, because it was adopted by the Planning Commission, but not by the full county commission. So again, it's not required that the county or the legislative body actually adopt the plan. However, I think the purpose of that is, it's always good in my mind, that the county commission sort of in a way endorses what the actions of the Planning Commission has done by saying, okay, we understand this is the process that you went through, and we are saying that, yes, we will adopt this plan, and that at that point, if the plan is adopted, again, it becomes more of a legally enforceable document. Any land use decisions that you make need to be made consistent with the recommendations of the plan. So that, I believe, is the main reason why we want to bring it forward to you, is just because of the fact that, yes, the Planning Commission has done this. There's 4 county commissioners that sit on the Planning Commission, have their input into that at the county commission level and say, we'd like for you to adopt this as the county. That way everybody is kind of in lockstep with each other as far as how we are moving forward to implement the recommendations of that plan. Now, something I do want to clarify regarding the adoption of a plan, even if it is adopted by the county commission, and we've had this discussion at our work sessions and even the public hearing that we had for it at the Planning Commission. I just want to make sure everybody understands, everybody's clear, that adoption of a plan does not mean the zoning, does not mean the development regulations and all of that change at the same time. The plan is the base document, if you will. It makes recommendations that at that point, as staff, as the Planning Commission, and ultimately as the County Commission, you would look at any changes as far as, okay, we want to make a zoning change, like a zoning plan change, like we did back in 2013 when we did our kind of zoning overhaul back at that time. That would have to go through the Planning Commission, then also have to go through the County Commission for your approval. So nothing changes. The day after adoption, if it is adopted, the zoning is still the same, the regulations have not changed. there's a whole nother process that goes along with that. And there's plenty of public input during that process, regardless if it's zoning changes or if it's changes to our subdivision regulations. Subdivision regulations are a little bit different. They don't come to the county commission. Those are creatures of the planning commission. Those will be approved there. However, as I said, you still have 4 county commissioners that do sit on the planning commission, so you still have input into the process. And it's an open process. You know, there's public hearings that are required, regardless if it's a subdivision regulation change or zoning change. So the zoning map would have to come, or any kind of changes to the zoning ordinance would come to you like any rezoning or zoning ordinance amendment would come to you right now. So nothing changes in that regard.
Thank you. So the full commission will hear the plan. The full commission could choose to vote to adopt it
Correct.
as an extra step, because it is adopted.
Correct. It is adopted by the planning commission.
Correct. It's a functional tool.
Yes.
The commission could take no action, I suppose, and
Yes.
we continue. Is there, could the commission, if the commission chose to conceivably amend it, only the planning commission would just simply entertain the amendment. There is no changing it by law
Correct.
from the full commission.
Correct. What would happen
Only the
is.
planning commission can change it.
Right. What would happen is, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that's the county commission has their public hearing and they look at it and say, well, we'd like the planning commission to consider these changes. At that point, it would go back to the planning commission, and the planning commission would have to, research that. They would have to analyze that to see if those are changes they want to make, and they would have to make a vote, either yes, they want to change it, or no, they don't. Now, there are timelines associated with that. I don't have the law right in front of me, so I don't know exactly the dates and the times involved. But yeah, you can't just change it on the floor and then adopt it. It would have to go back for the planning commission's review, and then that would be brought back to the county commission at that point.
It would have to, the planning commission wouldn't have to entertain an amendment, I guess is my point. They would not have to accept an amendment.
Well, they could look at it and say, we want to leave it the way that
Correct.
it is. Or they could say, well, we don't want to change it the way they said, however, we are willing to change it like this. I mean, there's options there. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Piercy.
When it passed the planning commission, was it a unanimous vote?
I believe it was. Yeah, Commissioner, both Cush and Phillips are saying I thought it was, but yes, sir.
Thank you.
I was trying to remember if it was.
Any other questions? Thank you, Doug.
Thank you all.
Is anyone here from the Highway Department? Okay. Building Codes Director Tanya Bell. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. Happy New Year. Tanya Bale. I am the Building Codes Director for Rutherford County. And I have started an annual report for 2025, but I haven't finished it yet. So I'll present that to you next month. I haven't had much time yesterday and today to work on it. So I'll give you the report for the month of December. The month of December, we issued a total of 283 building permits, and 47 of those were single-family dwellings, which is up a fair amount from both last month and this same month last year. I have gotten to the single-family dwellings for 2025, and 2025 over 2024 was down about just shy of 5%. And then 24 over 23, I think, went down by 2 or 3%. So we're seeing a slight drop, but not much. Sorry, got off track. For a total revenue last month of $145,235.20. We completed 1,334 building inspections and 139 zoning enforcement inspections, and drove 8,400 miles.
Okay.
And if nobody has any questions, I'll move on to development tax, school facilities tax. Month of December, we did not collect any development tax, and we collected a total of $660,033.50 in school facilities tax. to bring our fiscal year total to just shy of 4.3 million. That concludes my report.
Do we have any questions?
Motion to approve the report.
We have a motion and a second to approve the report. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Solid Waste and Convenience Center, Director Davis. Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Matt Davis, and I'm your interim solid waste director. I want to start tonight and just kind of recognize that we are on the end of our Christmas rush through our centers, and I'm really proud to report that we have come this far without having to close centers at any time that they're supposed to be open. A lot of years that's really tough for us, and we're doing a great job with it. I thank our attendants, our drivers, our fleet manager, Jackie Golovich, and our center logistics coordinator, David McDuffie, for their hard work in making this happen. To get into my report, in the month of December 2025, the county landfill processed 86.42 tons of brush for revenue of $2,602. We accepted 1,245 tires for revenue of $3,016. The total landfill revenue was $5,618. Our department collected a total of 3,582.32 tons of waste from all sources, including 2,629.17 tons from convenience centers, 496.14 tons from county schools, 457.01 tons of recycling from all sources. That makes a December diversion rate of 12.76%. To follow up on last month's meeting, I want to, if you look in your SharePoint, I have signs, an example of those. They are at the printers now, and hope to start putting them up before we meet again here. I'll also point out that I've got safety improvements in the works too, where we're doing kind of a test on some speed bumps in the centers before we roll them out across the county. And where it makes sense, we're going to do some striping too to create better safety zones in the centers. We're looking at the convenience center site in Laverne, near Laverne Lake Elementary School off of Gingham Drive and LaSalle Court. That is kind of back on the table right now, and we're taking steps to kind of study the site and see what our costs might be to build there. I would say that's kind of in the earliest stages, so I don't have a lot to report on it as far as numbers yet, but I'm sure that will come to you. The county solid waste transfer station processed 921.93 tons from personal vehicles. That's customers without accounts. 7,712.85 tons from vehicles with accounts, for a total of 8,634.78 tons last month. 84.94% of that volume originated from Rutherford County, 12% from Wilson County, 2.21% from Davidson County, and the volume from all other counties was 0.85% of that total. 72.53% of our transfer station waste was delivered by WM. And I do want to be really careful in saying that these numbers are very preliminary. We do kind of double check our records before we send them out to bill the monthly customers. So you could see some slight changes in these numbers. And the fourth quarter solid waste origin report will be submitted to TDEC once those numbers are finalized. But this concludes my report.
You have any questions? Commissioner James.
I was looking at the signage here, and I was just wondering, when was the last time you studied the best hours for these convenience centers?
I couldn't answer that. I don't know that it's been looked at in 6 years, but
Might be worth looking again before we commit to the signs, to put these out, because, having more consistent with the hours, like, Saturday past 3 p.m., or even something to where your standard 9 to 5 workday, people can get off work and still get there in time to do that. But what works best for your side as far as where you're trying to get the trash out of there into the landfill and so on, or consecutively days off for your guys instead of split, and then people lose track which day is off or not. Just might be something to look at.
I do know changes to that have to come through this committee and be approved, I think, by the full commission. But if that's something, some policy that the mayor and you guys want to change, we would be open to kind of studying what would work best.
I think it's something definitely worth looking at to at least make sure we're on the right path with what we've got. Every once in a while, need to revamp that. So, yeah, I'd like to see that. And then the other question on the signage was the 5 miles per hour sign. Would it be better to get one from the highway department, more traditional mile per hour sign, instead of ordering a whole separate sign?
These are lower cost, and they're not enforceable. They don't have to be that highway type sign. So we were kind of leaning this way.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Matt, just speaking of the convenience centers, I know in the past we've had openings and not been able to fill some of the part-time positions. What's your staff like right now?
Don't quote me. I think we're about 90 to 95% staffed. We're not having a lot of turnover like we had before, but it's not perfect. We still have a few slots. I believe we're going to be posting again very soon. We kind of put a pause on hiring through the holidays. But overall, we're doing pretty well with staffing and keeping the centers open like we should. And we've got a really good force right now, trained people that know what they're doing too.
Just, Mr. Chairman, if you would, I'd just like to commend Matt for taking over. You've been in this position for several months now, and it's obvious to this commissioner the growth that I've seen in you over the last few months and the confidence that's on your face. And on behalf of the county, we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. P.
Just for my information, the Laverne Convenience Center that we got on here, is that county-owned property now or school board property?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve his report.
Motion and a second to approve the report. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And now we have a presentation by Ms. Donna Barrett on recycling.
The commissioner just told me I had 3 minutes. I think even my husband's laughing at that one. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time today, and I will try to be succinct and short. It sounds like I'm the end of the program. What I want to do tonight is update you on what Recycle Right has been doing since our last meeting and on some of the actions you gave us the approval or support to do. So I want to first start, let's go to the next slide, and talk about how we're getting the word out about recycling and Recycle Right here in Rutherford County, the 4 counties that we operate in. We start with our social media, which of course is our website that we update daily. Some of you have met Asia Weatherford. She's the in-office person that makes us look good with all of this. So she handles all of our social media. She checks that daily and is constantly adding new vendors to it as we find those and updating any information we have that is county specific. We have participated in several local speaking engagements, and we've opened our calendar up for this year. We already have 3 lined up for the month of January. We participated in roundups. We talked about that, and I believe Commissioner James came by when we were physically at the last roundup, giving everyone information about Recycle Right in Rutherford County. We currently have ongoing commercials on WGNS and various spots on there. We've had those up now for 3 months. City of Murfreesboro local channel has run a special on us, and I will show you a short video from that in a moment. We've participated in Discovery Center events where we have pop-up activities for the attendees there. Wellness benefits, wellness fairs throughout businesses in the four-county region. Solid waste conventions. Of course, social media will also include our Facebook and our Instagram accounts. We are working with MTSU's Recycling, both to provide them vendors for what they need and to support them in getting activity and enough there to justify having that on a monthly basis now instead of quarterly basis as they were having them. And then we just had CUD newsletter provide an ad for us in their newsletter, and we will be doing an article in CUD. So I want to thank Commissioner Piercy. He's the one that planted that seed, and we're able to have that come to fruition. Next slide, please. If you go onto our website under our media, you will see these various recordings where we have participated in roundtable interviews on WGNS. We've utilized some of the local organizations and did podcast interviews with them. And then, of course, some of our committee meetings from here are all there and up for individuals to see. Next slide. This is a snippet from the City of Murfreesboro special that they did on Recycle Right. It's about a minute and a half, so if you'll bear with me. I wanted to show you this because I've told all of you, I don't just preach this, I practice it. And we wanted to show how easy it is to create a recycling opportunity in your own home, especially since we don't have curbside. I call this my garage side recycling. So if we'll see if we can get this to play. If you can play the video.
So here, we just finished up lunch. So this is one of our items that can be recycled. And on a daily basis, I have just a pull-out trash can, and instead of using both of them for trash, we have our throwaway trash here, which you can see is very small compared to this white container, which is our recyclables. This is probably 4 days worth of items coming through the house. Once this gets filled up, we take that out, and I'll show you where it ends up. So we have a bin here with all of the different locations or items that are recyclable. You'll see everything all the way through donation. So we participate with Goodwill, with anything that needs to go there. But we just simply take the items, put them in the recycling bins where they belong, and it makes it very easy at the end of the week or 2 weeks for us to take everything and put it in a box and take it to the convenience center. And yes, even pizza boxes are recyclable now. So as a household of 2, this is very convenient for us. It takes us probably a week to 2 weeks to fill all of this up. Unless it's a holiday time, then we're going to overflow things. But it's real simple to do. You fill this up, take it to the local convenience center, maybe 10 minutes out of our time in a week. Easy enough for anybody to do.
Thank you for that attention. And videos like this are something we're wanting to incorporate, little snippets of how-tos and showing how easy it is to just give individuals the suggestions they need to see what works for them and their household. So their next slide, this traffic count data, is a follow-up to the traffic count program or project I suggested a couple of months ago that we wanted to, or actually in the middle of last year, that we wanted to conduct. Commissioner James, this could help answer your question about what are the best hours for operation. I'll get into that in just a moment. But for 1 week, we conducted a traffic count at all of our convenience center locations here in Rutherford County. So remember, this is based on an average week. We did not pick a holiday weekend. We did not pick a time when school was starting back or anything that may have increased what we normally see traffic-wise. So the things I wanted to take from this information was that we have a county population when this was taken back late September of 388,000 people in Rutherford County. That comes to approximately 140,000 households. And looking at all these centers combined, for that 1 week, we had approximately 31,000 vehicles enter the centers. That's 22% of the Rutherford County households that visit our centers at least once a week. And the assumption is that everybody goes once a week to take off their garbage. So I think we can see this routinely. I will tell you that in looking at some other data from Director Davis, the averages we're looking at here are probably more on the average to low side. You get into some of the heavier weeks and months, we're going to see a marked increase in that. Next slide, please. And for explanation with that, this will give us some more information. Your most visited convenience center is Laverne, with 6,648 vehicles on that 1 week going through there. Fosterville is your least visited at 737 vehicles. For that particular week that we're talking about, the total waste tonnage from all the centers was 488 tons. The single stream that came out of that, which is just the cardboard, paper, plastics 1 and 2s, was 48 tons. So that was almost 9% that went through the single stream of the total waste that came through there. And then bulk, metal, and glass are separate bins from the single stream. So those accounted for another 5% and almost 2% for those. To answer Commissioner James's question about timing, this traffic count has all the data for that week for I think it's every 15 minutes they did a count. But we have that data, and I will be giving that to Director Davis after this. Every center, 24/7 for that whole week, he'll have that information as to the vehicles that ran through that. I will tell you, with you asking that question, this traffic count for 1 week at all those centers was $18,000. So if you want a bigger traffic count, say for the whole month, you're looking at a larger cost to do that. Recycle Right, TN incurred the cost for this one, because we wanted the data to start to have our KPIs so we could be able to see how things went from there. And from this, we can now do 1 center at a time, which I think we have the capability with equipment here in the county to do that. To get it all at one time, we had to outsource it. But that's about the minimum cost you're going to be looking at for that, to get that information outside of 1 week's worth of time. Next slide, please. We've been touring the centers. I wanted to give you aerial views of all the centers that we have on here, so I'm going to go through these rather quickly. This is Smyrna. You can see you've got 5 lanes coming in and then spreading out. The 5 black lanes are the incoming. The 2 red lines are to take folks over to the dumpsters they can drive up on and dump things in. And then as you go out on that dog leg there, that's the exit with some additional recycling bins. Next slide, please. Leanna, I'm going to start going through some of the things we saw at these centers. Better signage. So this is Leanna, and I'm not going to go through each and every one, but I do have these available. Leanna has a dedicated entrance and exit, but there needs to be better signage, both at the main gate. There's too much signage at some of these on the main gate coming in, and then at each one of the bins or compactor areas, and I'll show you some examples of that. And I will say all this information has been shared with Director Davis. We met a couple of weeks ago, so he knows this information, and we've discussed some of it in detail, so he's aware of the things we discovered. And these issues have existed for a while, so this is nothing new, and I know his staff is taking our recommendations seriously, and we're working on things together. Every center has some square bins that are from a no longer used vendor that doesn't get picked up. The vendor, actually I don't even think the vendor is in business anymore, but they left their bins, and there's at least 2, some cases 4 of these square bins there. They're taking up space, and you have some residents, if you don't have the individuals, the convenience workers having the time to pay attention, will drop things in those. So they need to be moved, and I think Director Davis is working on those, that they are now county property, and they just need to be removed off those sites because they're taking up space and they cause problems. But we have them at every location. Next slide, please. This is the Laverne exit entrance, the one where we have the highest count. The entrance and exit are the same spot. There's barely enough room for cars to pass. You get in a big truck coming in and out of that with a vehicle in there, and it is not a good flow, either coming into it or circling around in there. Next slide. Okay, next slide. That was information on Laverne. These are just aerial overviews. I'm sorry, next slide. This is just aerial overviews of some of the other locations. As you can see, they have developed from holes in areas, and some have become larger, more laid out, better laid out locations. Others still exist as what we had available at the time. And this is not a criticism. This is just reality of how we've come from something 50 years ago and developed into where it is now, and where we need to revisit things for today's usage. Next slide. Again, other aerials of all the sites. Next slide. We put these two on here. Main Street Center is Murfreesboro location, City of Murfreesboro location, and then Haley Road, which is closed. These are the, City of Murfreesboro has hours different than the counties, and some other issues that exist with it as well. But those two centers, that and Haley Road, are the two centers that we have that would service downtown city residents. The sooner we can get that Haley Road up and operational, it will service a group of our community that's not being serviced right now. And Main Street Center needs to be expanded upon and fully utilized. I am talking with the city on that facility and how we can improve it, but they're desperately needed. You saw the numbers that we're getting in. Even if you go with the smallest number of 730 cars coming through it, I think Haley Road would take even more than that. So we're missing an opportunity there. Next slide, please. All right, signage. These are the types of signs we have out at our convenience centers. This is not how we want to present Rutherford County and services that are funded by our taxpayers. Next slide, please. Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that most of the signage that's at these convenience centers have been crafted by the employees that run the centers?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought.
Yes, sir. You'll see some. Let's try the next slide also. The picture up to the upper right-hand corner is one of the old professional signs we have running around. Those frames the wheels are off of them. They're damaged. The signage on them isn't even correct for what is accepted now. So we've been making do with what we have, and new signage is absolutely necessary. It doesn't even describe how things flow now or how things are taken. Next slide. This is not a very good picture of what I wanted to present, but it is a talking point. First of all, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, the picture that says notice, a larger view of that will show that there's probably 4 more signs on the other side of that drive-in. It's too congested. There's too much information trying to get out there, and that needs to come down and be a better entrance sign. Some of these do show some good big numbers that are very readable. 2 of the things we discovered in visiting these sites and reviewing the signs, not all of them indicate that it's closed for all state and federal holidays. We actually were out there on Veterans Day, and people were lined up trying to get into some of them because there was no sign saying that it was closed on those days. One of the centers actually has a sign that says, if closed, return in 30 minutes. So on Veterans Day, they're out there waiting to return in 30 minutes, and they weren't gonna, and there was a line there already. So we know that there needs to be some more communication when it comes to that. We can't correct everybody's lack of reading, but we can limit what they have to read to see what they're looking for. Next slide. So this is the overall area of concerns. No delineated lines Again, when you looked at all those aerial sites, you saw an entrance and an exit and boxes set up everywhere, but no lines. And if you'll recall, the issue we had at Smyrna was just cars going all over each other. That's where the individual was injured months ago. So those lines are absolutely necessary. If you've got 5 going into the compactors and then coming down to 3, and you turn over to the left if you don't want to go through this way, everybody's trying to get out, bottlenecking out of one. So the lines are absolutely a must there. I mentioned the handwritten signs. The no flow, again, goes back to the, no flow actually falls with the no consistency. The layouts are not the same. Now, I know the size of the convenience centers vary depending on their location and what they're servicing, but you can still have a consistent flow, say you have 2 compactors here, but forward another one. You can still have the same flow, just increase it as you need to, but everybody gets accustomed to, if I go in this way, then I need to turn left here always, instead of trying to figure out what's next around the corner. The unused bins we've talked about. Again, bins in multiple locations go back to the no consistency. Should we always have the glass bin on the left once you go through? So if you go to any convenience center, you know where the glass is going to be. Consistency. And then 5, too many informational signs, as I said, on the front gate, and then the come back after 30 minutes sign, which obviously they're not always open during the hours of operation that they say if there's a sign like that up. Next slide. This is something we're recommending. It doesn't have to be this exact signage, but it is signage that's better. It's more in line with industry standards. It gives you not only the verbiage, but it gives you images as well for those that may have trouble understanding the sign. And it flows with, again, all the industry recycling signs, the colors that go along with it, and I think is much more informative, again, consistent with what we have, what we're receiving versus what we have right now up. Next slide. Recommendation for the signage out front. One of the things that we've noticed in talking with folks is not everybody knows what a convenience center is. You've got convenience stores that are the corner of everywhere. Some of the folks coming into the end area don't know what a convenience center is. It really ought to be called a trash disposal center. That's what it is. There's no mistake about it. And every one of them should be a recycle center. They are. They take some portion of recycling. Let's not make them try to find what they're looking for. Let's tell them what they're looking at. And I think changing the signage, giving them the information they need, which is what this is, what the hours are, and when we're closed. Anything else they can find out once they get in, again, we provide too much information when you're coming in, and nobody's going to read it. The more that's out there, the less they're going to read and pay attention. Next slide, please. This was a request. We're fleshing it out right now. We held a lunch for the convenience center workers to get their input, and about 10 of them took us up on it and came and had let us treat them to lunch. Very wonderful information back from them, both from what they see as a need and what they hear as a need. So a lot of this came from our talks with them and what they were saying, the problems they were encountering. And there'll be more that we add to that later on when we reach another aspect of our research. They recommended a center handout. Again, that goes back to, if you put a sign up for everything, it's too cluttered. This would have everything on there and make it convenient to go, here's what you need to be bringing, or here's what you can recycle. It's a thought. I haven't got it all flushed out yet, but just know that your workers are forward-thinking and would like to improve things that are out there. And again, this would also allow us to put the Recycle Right TN on there and provide other recycle locations outside of business hours and outside of what the convenience centers offer as well. Next slide. I'll take questions.
Mr.
Chair, thank you. I have a few. Thank you, Donna.
Okay.
First of all, this was very informative. I appreciate it on behalf of this committee. Many thanks. I know that there was a lot of effort put in, and it shows. A couple of things. The Laverne site that you showed, and then we saw some information about a potential new site on some school property, right? Will that replace the current Laverne, or will this be in addition to?
Replaces. It replaces.
It will replace it. Okay, all right. What's that, Phil?
It's my recollection that Laverne has asked us to vacate the current site. They have a better use
So
for
that
it.
that will totally improve that. All right. A couple of thoughts. First of all, on the traffic count, how did you count? Was it the rubber strip across the drive that counted, or did you talk Ronnie into go out there with a clicker and click the cars as they drove by?
Oh, we actually contracted with SEC.
Okay.
And we had a professional traffic counter come in, and it was strips across.
Okay.
They were even able to tell us the types of vehicles that came in, whether they
Really?
were
Okay.
cars or trucks. It's a very detailed report.
Were they located right at the gate, or were they out in front? So like if they were closed and they came in to turn around, it counted as a,
It was right at the gate.
so they had to actually enter the gate to be counted?
You'll see after hours, the counts are zero. So
Okay.
let me rephrase, they were close enough to where we didn't get any of those turnarounds.
Okay. Third thought, and I know this would cost money, so I just want you to take this opportunity for what it's worth. Mike Hughes, our county engineer, and on the planning commission, the county has subcontracted with a traffic engineer, Neil Schaefer, that reviews all of our subdivision traffic studies, things like that. And I know when a few years ago, when this committee committed, and the mayor's office committed to revamp 3 or 4 of our convenience centers, that was done. But if we needed to have a, quote, real traffic engineer to review or relook at some of these traffic flows on the centers that were not on the list for improvement, we have that tool. We have those bodies there. Now, there'll be a fee, obviously, but I just want to throw that out there, that we have a pro on staff that can help us with that. And then lastly, this committee is not afraid to have special work sessions. We did that with the solid waste subcommittee for a year or two. It sounds like you're giving a lot of information to Matt, and Matt, as interim director, will have a lot to process. If we need to have a special this committee needs to have a special work session with Matt and you to flush some of these ideas or to get things moved forward. I won't speak on behalf of the committee, but I'm sure the chairman would be happy to call an extra meeting specifically for Matt to help wade through some of these things that would need our approval or our okay, right? So, thank you.
And thank you for both those offers. I will say that Matt and I have met once since this traffic count came in, so I wanted him briefed on everything I was going to say here. We really haven't taken any major steps on anything except the bins that needed to be removed. So no action. We've not worked a plan going forward. He just knew what information I was going to present tonight. I didn't want him caught off guard. Secondly, on the signs that we're proposing, because I know budgets are tight, one of the things we are looking at and we're getting the details on is how some of the grants, the private sector grants we've identified, can fund these signage things.
A presentation like this and these ideas and the signs, which have been needed for a long time, if we have the momentum, I want to keep the momentum going.
Yes.
So let's rally and use this group, and if we need a special session, but obviously Matt needs time to digest and make a plan, but I'm encouraging him to bring that plan or ideas to us, and let's chop, 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 and keep going. So the signs are cool, and I would agree with the ones with the photos or the images. because after steering last night, when Sonia gave her report about what HR has to do, I'm finding out that Spanish and Arabic are the two of the biggest languages that they have to help people out with in Rutherford County. And I thought, Arabic? Well, the photo says it's worth 1,000 words, right? So people can see that, and you don't have to speak English to understand that an empty bottle and recycling is easy. You don't need words to describe. So I love that idea.
It goes without saying, but I welcome the committee's support that Recycle Right TN be intimately involved in those meetings as we plan forward. As you will recall, when we first started talking about this, whatever we can set here, the goal is this becomes something that's replicable statewide. To piggyback on that, we've had 2 meetings of the statewide Solid Waste Advisory Task Force. We'll have our next one is the 22nd of January. So what we're funneling from, what I'm bringing to the table is what we're funneling from here. We're not the only ones experiencing these problems. It's statewide. And if we can take the opportunity we've got right now with this pilot program and our involvement on the task force, let's be the ones that help solve the problem. I'd rather start here in the middle of the state where we've got the major problem and take it to the others. So again, let's get it right here and we can take it forward.
Chairman Phillips.
Thank you, Donna, for being here and sharing with us and bringing us up to date. Good job. Thank you. Are you close to our legislative delegation as it relates to potential new legislation that might be presented at this next session that would attack the Jackson Law? Do you have inroads that you may hear something that we don't hear?
It's kind of 3 separate questions. I am close to our delegation. We are working closely on solid waste issues. Have we had direct conversations about Jackson Law? No. Has that come up in the Solid Waste Advisory Task Force? Only briefly. Again, we've had 2 meetings. They've been largely informational meetings. One with TDEC giving us their 30,000-foot overview of solid waste. And then the last meeting, which was extremely encouraging for me with everything we're going through, is all the industries that are, or a large portion of the industries that are our end users for recycling, started calling the committee and said, we want to come present. So we had a full day's worth of presentations from the glass recyclers, from the metal recyclers, from the cardboard recyclers. Anybody that wanted our recyclables were there saying, there's a market, we want it, let us know how we can help, we're here. So that was lots of encouragement for me to see that. Everything I see, I know that's out there. Now they're at the table going, how do we fix this? So that's the best answer I can give you. I do have a close relationship with the delegation. And the task force is looking at, right now, I think everything's on the table as far as discussion.
Commissioner Piercy.
The members that sat on that solid task force, were they chosen? Were they volunteers? Do you know how they became a member of that committee?
I asked. That's how, I guess I volunteered. They were selected by so many by the Speaker of the House and so many by the Lieutenant Governor, Senate Speaker, and I think the Governor had a couple of appointees. So they were appointed.
Now, are we talking about the same committee that Shane Reeves is the chairman?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I want to say about that. What did you recommend to change the name of the convenience centers to?
Recycling center and trash, recycling and trash disposal center.
Okay. I didn't hear the trash part, and that was concerning me. We'd wind up with more trash on country roads and in the rural area. My other comment, of course, I really enjoyed the presentation. It's really good. And if we can make it all come to life, it'd be great. it'll take some time and a little money, and there's a little of both out there. To help spread your word on recycling, and this may be something you don't have the time or the help to do, but most of our elementary schools have a PTA committee, or PTO, it's PTO, parent teacher, it's PTO. If maybe someone could present just a little at one of those meetings, that would get it down into the younger division, and maybe your younger parents probably would have a lot more effect than hitting the older side. You know, to start it out young and see if it could be pushed through there. And they may not even allow you to do it, but I think it'd be worth asking to see if you have the time or manpower. You know, I know you're thinking you're covering a lot of territory. Probably like everybody, you don't have much help at all. But that's just a suggestion. Thank you.
And thank you for that recommendation. Asia's listening, so I'm sure she's already added it to her to-do list. I will tell you that when we have gone through some of the school systems, such as their text alert systems out to the parents to try to get some of the recycling information out, particularly for our recycle roundups, their criteria for using that is very narrow. It has to be related to the classroom. PTOs may be different because they're more volunteer-led type organizations. So and Asia has some prior work with the city school system, so she'll be able to look into that and go down that rabbit hole for us to see if that's available. I will tell you that we are part of the chamber, and on the 15th, I'll be presenting during their pitch about recycling. So we are trying to reach out to all different types of organizations that will allow us to come in and spread the word about this. And speaking of spreading the word, one thing I'd like to ask this board is that you encourage, request, require, I'll take the require if I can get that, the Recycle Right 10 website to be posted on the solid waste website for the county. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
A lot of good information. And I'd like to say again, a lot of the things that Ms. Barrett touched on are being worked on, such as signage and getting lanes marked. I know especially at G Street and some of the others. So it's refreshing to have Matt come in and hit the ground running and started making changes that needed to be changed, made a long time ago. And Matt's willing to do the job. He's doing the job, a very good job. As well, he's director to me. I really appreciate everything you do, Matt. So, yeah, we are making some more changes there at G Street, such as, you don't have the picture up now, but if you noticed on G Street when you showed it, there's a curve. You've got 2 lanes coming in, and when you get to the curve, we're gonna like put a 3rd lane. So it'll be 3 lanes merged into the 5. That's gonna help a lot. Of course, government works slow, so it's going to be a little while before we get that done, but it's in the works. And the signs are being ordered.
Signs are being ordered this week. I'm heading that lane in Smyrna. That is all set up. It's going to happen as soon as we start the asphalt in March.
Okay, the 3rd lane will hopefully be done around March. So really looking forward to that. I think it's going to help a lot. We have one incident just a couple of days ago out at G Street. I won't call him a gentleman like a lot of people do. We had an individual come out there and decided he's just going to dump what he wanted. We had an attendant doing his job, doing it very well, and he's telling the guy, you know, hey, you can't dump that stuff here. And the guy, you know, throws the stuff anyway and cuts the attendant's arm. Well, that man already have warrants, so that shows you a little bit of his mentality, but he didn't get exactly what he wanted. He got 2 days at the jail. So that does happen, people. If you want to go out there and not try to cooperate and get through the line quickly, then there's other ways that you can be dealt with. But we don't like to do that. It's a shame that happened. But that's just give you a little insight of what our people do go through every day. You know, they have, usually it's just some little words back and forth maybe, but it does come to actually the police being called at times. And thank Smyrna for being prompt and getting out there and getting the job done. But it could have been a whole lot worse. But I just ask all the public, if you go to the recycle centers, that's what I like to call them, the trash and recycle centers, just know that you're going to probably wait in line. Convenience doesn't mean that you're going to go up there and go right through with no wait. You go to a convenience store, you usually have to wait in line, so I don't see how anyone could see that it would be any different at the recycle centers. But just wanted to add that, and we'll go to other business. Is there any other business? Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you.